So who's here? CameraTim.com, JR, Paul T, Franco Walker, Wicks, Mark Gray, Will Yarma, John McFerrin, Simon Neep, Tom Houston, Joe Russ, Just Me, Maraz Walker, Joss C. Matimbale, Stickimo Lockwatcher. Is Furbear here? I think Furbear's here. Hopefully he's got his headphones this time because he was in hostel last time and couldn't on the Patreon stream and had forgotten his headphones, so he didn't want to watch it. Just probably in case I said loud, awkward things. That happens. Skip ad. Yes, I will skip an ad. Thank you very much. So much for a cam stream. The reason I'm slightly late is because I've just been trying to catch up and stuff, and it's not being cam. Thank you, Slownick. Much appreciated. Oh, dear me. I was hoping to film the Isle of Man Young Farmers tractor run today. Unfortunately, Ralph invited himself along as well, so that didn't happen. Because that would have been a running derogatory commentary in the background, but not to worry. The beanie, or toque, as you might say, in Canada. Hold on, I'll just try and get some action here on my screen. There we go, that's better. And I'll also lower the resolution on my screen just so that it doesn't impact on transmission speed. And a weird night. Weird dreams that I was on a train heading home in Glasgow and somehow the train went past the station or went a different route and ended up in London, which is very, very different. And the whole frustration of trying to get back and everything going horribly wrong. Oh, look, it's frozen again. Excellent. Things are not going to plan here. Not sure what's happening here. It's not that chilly. It's coolish, but not that bad. We'd sent a tractor too, but it's too cold to go outside, says DC Allen. Lots of big tractors. Ralph doesn't like, no, Ralph wanted to go along, but he would not have kept quiet while I was filming. It would have been an inappropriate commentary, full of opinions and stuff, so no. Those tractors, though, they're enormous. They're huge. They're massive. They must cost a lot. I'm not even going to imagine what those tractors cost. They're full-on industrial-grade machines. Clive, do you want to look at hive bulbs stop working? Thank you for the offer of that, but hive bulbs and hue bulbs not working is a standard thing, I'm afraid. Do you have tracks that run Scotch whisky, John Clullow? That would be very expensive. Craig Matthews, good that your 3D print is finished. Be patient so it comes off the base easy. Ralphie's a twat. Here's a stupid hat. Only Sim Grace says, 2 cute cats indeed, Furbear. Still cost less than a Russian tank. Do they really, though? Do they really? 50 grand upwards. I would have thought much more than 50 grand, given a look at those ones. White Sapphire, I'd have thought 100 grand plus. I know that farming equipment costs a lot. Clem Rowley, did you hear about the Spark who got jailed for crashing his car into bikers that tried to rob his house? If they were trying to rob his house, wow, that's tricky. No more work for me until 9th January. Good job, John Payton. That's good. The size of the turbo alone, one of those big Bayuki Sound tractors, pretty impressive. Redhead first, indeed. They're huge. Was there ever have any of these ever been pre-recorded? What, these live streams, Rick Rad's vids? No, they're all live. We've not been sanitized and no Jägermunion has been taken. Sanitization. Scanning. This is the bit that YouTube will probably take as the indicative picture. Oh, look, it's my live feed. It's stopped again. What the fuck is it doing? It's not working at all tonight. I'm not going to touch anything, not going to reboot anything, because it will stop working. Thank you, Henrik. Much appreciated. Do you have any new weird electronic stuff to show? Probably, yes. Jägermunion to Isle of Man Young Farmers for running this sort of thing, which is a charity run. So hopefully that did well. Hopefully it didn't cost them more in diesel than than the what they raised, although I don't think it will. What's the cure for a bad mood? Probably alcohol. I'm not really sure. I noticed the Hacksmith has just put a video up. I don't know if you guys have seen that he's pulling out of the game. I think he's stepping back and letting other presenters because I always thought that he was putting on a lot of work. He was working hard, right? Okay. I'm looking at this and I have movement on my screen. Let's see if it stops again, decides to stop. They raise the tractors. No, they don't, Monkey Man here. That would be quite fun. But it is just a slow procession of tractors that will probably have all the businessmen, their BMWs beating their horns and getting all angry because they're not able to make us progress as fast as usual. They completely forget that Alaman is a rural community and all the roads are country roads for tractors. Not to worry. Oh yes, Craig Matthews, you're right. If you're just joining this stream, make sure you've started at the live bit over there and not started right at the beginning down here. There's a little button down here that should say live and be lit red for live. If it's not, then you're not seeing it live. They show them off, indeed, Rifleman. Actually, I'm not sure about BMW tractors. They probably do have them. But certainly a lot of them had police lights and sirens on them, which was quite odd. I think they were taking the piss this year. Thank you, Simon Allen. Wishing everyone bucket loads of cam, indeed. Any orange stuff? There's this plastic thing here for stripping cables. That's orangey. So I got a new camera today. A new camera phone, a Pixel 6a. Very, very frustrating. Apparently Google likes doing Android differently to everybody else. But now the little buttons are back, making it easier to navigate if you're used to navigating that way. The camera is proving quite quirky with the normal app I use to control the camera. I'm not sure how good its close focus is at this point in time. But we shall see. Creators have never-ending infomercials. Mike Rook, indeed. Lamborghini started out making tractors, same as David Brown who owned Aston Martin. Really, Zadster? That's quite odd. I suppose it's a regular financial income. Lamborghini Tractor Modular, you just told me how many cylinders you wanted, Mighty Cat Mods. That was probably a status thing. That's probably where the whole status thing crept in. Is this even level? It's not level, is it? Today's modern app environment is frustrating because they change things whenever they want to. No consistency for users. That is true, Monkey Man here. It's always a bit of a nightmare. Like, for instance, this phone that I'm recording with at the moment, this live stream, it updated last night, made Hello Moto type noises. I just got a 6A last week, says Mar. Is the BV9900? Yep, it's still fine as Scary West. Although I will say, have you seen Mike's Electric stuff featured a little thermal imaging camera, a wee tiny, tiny little thing, super compact with higher resolution than my top-end Fleur, well, top-ish end Fleur. But it's small enough you can just stick it in a little cable so you can get it into nooks and crannies to look for thermal signatures. Very good. And because it's not a big brand tied in with the American government, it isn't restricted to slow frame rate so that you don't use it in weapons to shoot soldiers. It is actually 25 frames per second updating, so perfect for adding to your drone so it can target living people. I still get a kick of the fact that Lamborghini tractors still think, are they still a thing, the redneck atheist? ELW got a coming up video that deals 120 volts, those LED cobs, plus I'm adding a fan tips. Just make sure they're well heat sinked and don't treat some of the, if it's the mains voltage cobs, yeah, just remember the heat sink really does need grounded in those. Any Christmas lights surprise the works? No. I should really. Oh, I do have something very Christmassy. Hold on, I'll go and get it. You can tell from my smirk that it's bad. Thank you, Ashley. Much appreciated. Ew. Righty-ho. Let me just grab hold of this. It's got a bell in it because it's Christmassy. It's got a big, long bit of chain. And there we go. It's Santa. Black Santa at that. Why doesn't he have a white beard? Why is there a reason that Black Santa doesn't have a white beard? And that anyway, I've just pulled this chain out. Yes, indeed. It is Black Santa. Motorized Black Santa with a chain. Anal beads for Santa, indeed, Xian. It's unfortunate. In one of the listings, the Chinese listings actually showed them like that. Look, it has chained. It's like Santa going, oh yeah. Indeed. Dirty, dirty Mr. T Santa, indeed. Yeah, Mr. Schwaggins, I noticed that you're paying a lot for each small step up. Is it really worth that huge step up in the pixels for another camera? What's the actual temperature in the house, Reb Elb? I can tell you that right now. It is currently about 11 degrees Celsius. Thank you, Henrik Ostrov. Much appreciated. Are you into that point now? There's no more weird electronics. Oh no, there's no shortage of weird electronic stuff on eBay. I've also been looking at AliExpress a lot more these days for interesting modules. When you unwrap your fob cover, candy Santa, what do you get? A chocolate Santa. Why is this a what? So the question is, why does Black Santa have a black beard? Is it because it's a... I know the Muslims tend to dye their beards black, but I wouldn't really classify that as a Muslimy type Santa. I'm not really sure. It's very strange. I mean, it looks quite stylish. Maybe they just got told, make it Santa, but make it white. Or instead of making it white, make it black. And they made everything black. Dutch Santa? Brendan Dutch. The Dutch things, their Christmas celebrations, very weird. Blacking up for their, just because their traditions. Holland has some very, well, Holland, see, that's the problem with school teaching you that. The Netherlands has some very, very weird traditions, but that's fine. So does the UK, and indeed America. The Krampus, indeed. Have you ever seen a black with white? Yes, you get people with white beards. Yes. I'm trying to think of one that comes to mind. Certain actors would have the white beard. Yeah, W, I've been looking for kits to build SMD or through-hole. Any suggestions? There's lots of kits for both surface mount and through-hole. Morgan Freeman does come to mind. That's who I was thinking of, Spookswood. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman is apparently the most popular black guy with a white beard, apparently, going by this. He does look very stylish. He sounds good as well. Have you seen the Breadboard computer channel? I have not seen that monkey man here. I do know that in Glasgow, many of the sort of Muslim leaders had bright orange beards, and it wasn't like natural gingery orange. It was like fluorescent, lurid orange. I wonder what that was about. It makes me think that some Paddy, an Irishman, went across and presented himself falsely as being a god or something like that, and they all said, we must all have ginger beards too for Ginger Beard God. Not really sure. Oh, the Dutch Black Peats indeed blacked their faces because they were the ones going down sooty chimneys. Oh, right, okay. Is that what it is, Electron Box? I'm not so sure. I think they're just being nice. It's like the UK used to have the black and white minstrel show, and the ladies would all be dressed, they'd be white and dressed up, but the guys in their outfits, very Disney outfits, would have their faces blacked up with the outline. It was like full on. These days, it just would be considered unacceptable. Sure, why? It's just making a play on different cultures. But not to worry. John Walk, if I had to pick someone to narrate my voice, it would be Morgan Freeman. If your life, you mean, or just you want his voice? Ah. What 3D printer would you recommend, Mark Cousins? It depends how much money you've got. One of the easiest to set up so far, well, both the ones I got were easy to set up. The Cetus 2 by Tier Time and the Delta FL Sun Q5. But the Q5, I notice they've now addressed my biggest grump with that printer is the long Bowden tube, because as the head moves about, the filament actually, as it's moving, it retracts inside, and it results of it skipping from side to side. It can actually result in an uneven wall. But they now have the much more expensive FL Sun 400, is it? Which is a very, very big Delta printer and now has the direct filament drive on the head. I'm scrolling up to see, I see Horrorvax being angrier than me. That makes me feel better. I could probably do voiceover work, Mr. Schwaggins, but I already do on my own channel. Gallium arsenide sounds like a good cupcake sprinkle, Fred Jacobs. Gallium arsenide is that classic red LEDs. Love the lights in Sheffield. I've not seen them, Mr. Eggcake. Have they done anything interesting? Redneck Atheist, think about a wax printer for lost cast wax casting. Really come across that. How was Movember? There's always been. Maybe I should have shaved my moustache off for November. I could have at the beginning. Oh, Christmas tree badge. That's a good point. I believe Mouse now has other badges available. Let us put on a badge. Colourful. Psychedelic badge. It can go up round about here. They're now compliant. Your kiddies can't take the batteries out and swam anymore because Mouse has made that modification. Lick the magnet. No, I might swallow it, Retu PMOC, and then you know what happens to the wee babies. Do you have a resin 3D printer? I don't, Lee T. They are just still quite expensive to get the resin for, and they sound very sticky and unpleasant. It sounds like resin will inevitably get everywhere. So I wonder how today's the nativity, not the nativity, the Santa's Grotto, the town commissioner have opened up a free access Santa's Grotto. I donated a shit ton of lights and went and put them on loads of trees for them, so that as the kids go in, they go into a indoor wooded area full of Christmas trees, lots of Christmas trees, fake Christmas trees, so they can be used. And the present is not going to be big, but hey, it's fine. Steve Perry, no one famous has died today. To who to toast? Indeed. Well, let's not toast dead people anyway. Do you have pictures? I don't, Craig Matthews. I mean, June took some pictures while we were setting it up, but he's put it on his commissioner's page, I think. Did you order C6 bubble lights or C7 bubble light? Not sure. Don't know about that. But something went horribly wrong. My parcel arrived with the Christmas lights, and it was someone else's Christmas lights, because although they'd put the correct address on it, the courier label with the barcode they'd stuck on had my address for theirs and their address for mine, so that my expensive bubble lights went to someone else, and what I would say they undersold at about £5 or £6. Their set of Christmas lights came to me. So I've now posted theirs directly to them. Hopefully they will post mine to me. That would be a dream come true for a Christmas collector when you ordered. A cheap set of lights and a set of bubble lights arrived. Vintage bubble lights. Noma bubble lights. 120-volt bubble lights, but that's okay. I hope they haven't plugged them into 240. What do you think about 3D printing metal objects and stuff, Henrik Ostrov? It does require the more specialist sintering equipment, I think, but quite interesting. Have you been watching TV from the pavement again legally, Mondo Daffs a Brush? Why would you watch TV? Clive, you make sure nothing inappropriate is showing. What? Mark Christopher? Is something inappropriate showing? Do you still use a CD4017 chip in your lighting system, or has everything moved to PIC controllers? These days it's PIC controllers. I mean, I shall show you a circuit board that has arrived. It's a big purple one. It's just a concept. It's not necessarily going to be used. It's just to give options. It's a sine controller based on a PIC microcontroller, ULN2803 drivers, LED banks, and this general power supply circuitry. Quite a nice colour of circuit board, but it is single-sided. Note, despite the fact it's got so much stuff on it, it is just a single-sided circuit board with not one single link on it. Because that's what you can do. That's because you can assign almost every pin on a microcontroller as an I/O pin input or output. They have metal film that you have to increase the print by 25% so when it dries and you forge it in an oven, it comes out perfect with the strength of metal. All right, Mr. Schwaggers, I didn't realise they were doing the sort of shrink down metal loaded filaments. I wonder how that is in the tips of the thing. How many channels? 24 channels. Just keeping the options open. I shall get the woofler ready. It requires a kiln oven and a metal filament 3D printer. Yeah, it sounds like it wouldn't be just a standard oven. It would have to raise it up to the point the metal's cindered together. I wonder how strong it would be. I wonder how porous it would be. Probably quite porous. Could be useful in its own right, though, making porous metal discs. Ignition device on. On. Begin the woofulation. No rum in it this time. I could add rum. Woofle. Appreciating the heat more now in winter. It feels much nicer than a woofle in summer, which is just too hot. Woofle. Excellente. Make headers with 3D printers. Headers, Michael Blue. Oh, did Liz miss the woofle? Oh no, Liz was here. That's all right. Norm Swan, is medical weed come with a potency rating like ABV? I do believe they tell you what percentage is in it. I'm not really sure how effective that is, though. Don't know. Thank you, Jeff F. Missed that one. When you say neon, YouTube caps it as neem. Neem oil. It's a plant, isn't it? Scrolling up and down. For Christmas, maybe Clive can curl the wiffle flames. James Randolph, it's not that easy. We've tried that before with boric acid and stuff like that, but it requires a blue flame to carry it. So really, it needs a flame jet, a fine mist of alcohol fuel carrying the colouring salts in it, like they use in the theatre stuff and the event stuff. Thank you, Squeak. I'm back. Had bad depression, so 555 for life, indeed. Depression is stock accessory for technical people, unfortunately. It's a standard thing. It happens. Main thing is to know that it will pass and everything will be good afterwards. My library does 3D printing free. Should I send a whiffler? You could, Norm Swan. The local library doesn't offer things like that. It's full of books that nobody goes in and reads. It seems like, why do we still have a library anymore? The space could be used for more useful things. On a plus note, they did reduce her budget from an absolutely astronomical figure for books that she spent on books that nobody was ever going to read. They reduced it quite significantly. I think it's time to find another use for the library. Can we toast the hacker and maker teachers tonight to help others learn to do the things we do? Kate Incredible, we could. When you say pick, I think you're contractually obliged to say the ubiquitous microcontroller. In a way, it's an ubiquitous one, but mine has a number on it. But it will be locked, as always. Maybe it won't be locked if it's going into that application, because it's too specialist. We'll see what happens. I was talking with them last time I was across, and they kind of want to stay with the old electromechanical controller, but they want other options. We'll see what happens. The chipmunk disagrees. Libraries are awesome fun. They smell of books. They smell of rotting books. Not many people read them. It should be little. The library these days should have a book section, but it should be also YouTube studio sections, things like that, for people to basically can book a room and it's a little studio with ambient lighting and a bench in it, a table in it, so they can actually present videos. Why no Christmas lights? The live stream room. I don't have any Christmas lights up yet. Will I do something this year? It doesn't. I don't do an awful lot this year. Paul T is addicted to power banks, as are we all. Do you know why? It's because it's the prepper instinct. It's a source of power that even in blackouts, you've always got power. In Armageddon, if there's an apocalypse, assuming everything survived this largely fictional EMP, I just don't think this is going to happen, to be honest. And if it does happen, having a bit of electronic equipment that survived the EMP isn't necessarily going to be that useful. But I think independent power for living with perhaps a survived solar panel would be quite handy. Arthur Tusha Jackson, will we have that guy tonight who's given loads of super chats like last week? I don't know. That was a bit too much super chats, but greatly appreciated. I hope he was sober at the time. Can you show us how to make a radiation sensor out of an old camera sensor? To be honest, I think it's better just to buy a Geiger tube for that, nuts bolts. It could be a makerspace mat tester, but then what would they do with the existing librarian? I don't know if she's technical. Do you have a Christmas tree? Up in the attic, yes, Electrokev. I've not brought it down a long time. There's no room to put it anywhere. Greetings, Hamilton Mechanical. Should turn them into homeless shelters they are anyway, George Kitch. That's not a bad idea. It used to be also be a place, the library. My mum used to dump me off at the library, me and Ralph sometimes, while she did her shopping, just because it was easier than just having us tagging along at the time. She used to just dump us at the library, and to the point that the librarian actually got a bit pissed off about the fact it was clear Mum was using it as a creche. Apparently, they're a man, though. Apparently, the Isle of Man government is now going into debt, which wouldn't really surprise me given the way they just blow money out the window. They are so inefficient. And it's all the consultancy fees, really huge consultancy fees. To me, that means something completely different than Isle of Man now. Let's hire a consultant, let's just give a huge wad of money to a friend. Yes, that's what it feels like. Because a lot of the consultants are shit. A giant Krampus Christmas tree would be made of like something unpleasant, Jeffrey Waldo. John, I do not need a resin 3D printer. I keep getting offered them by uh, people wanting me to promote them, but no, it's going to be a huge sticky mess. I just know it's going to be a huge sticky mess. This is, yeah, indeed, this is the Christmas tree. You're right, Jan. There is one on me. My sister used to say she was going there, then she'd go out and abuse Vicodin. Oh, really? That's not so great, John Possum. Going to the library. Suppose you could also go to the pub. Oh, you got Omicron. That's just jumped. I'm going to have to find it. Somebody got Omicron. Thank you, Henrik. I think you missed it. Nope, the Owen just needs to burn and evaporate the plastic in the printed object. If it's done right, it'll be a solid object. Yeah. Oh, the oven just needs to burn and evaporate the plastic. I see. They are a huge sticky mess, says John Key. That's what I think. And solvents everywhere. The big tubs of flammable isopropyl alcohol with impregnated with resin, and it looks pretty messy, to be honest. Maybe in the future, but not now. I like the idea of the high definition they produce. It'd be good if they could produce clear lenses. But that's all I'm thinking that would be a major advantage. That little fox's Christmas tree has 3 555 timers and 12 LEDs, made in 1985. That's quite some time ago. I've not been offered any air fryers to review. I don't think I have. The other man is currently advertising an aerospace centre offering special tax advantage on vague aerospace services. The Isle of Man has apparently got a huge aerospace industry, Rifleman. I'm not sure if that's real or fantasy. How about an Arduinoverse? That controller would be viable, but I just decided to make it nice and simple. So would you try the metal filament? Not really sure, Henry Kostrov. Can't think of anything metal I need to make at the moment, apart from my failed attempt at making the metal coffee maker. Clear on resin printers is a bit brown. Ah, John Key. Hamilton Mechanical said, someone posted a thing the other day saying air fryers are causing house fires just by being plugged in. It smells of bullshit to me. There's this thing that no matter what is in vogue at the moment, no matter, for instance, apparently, hold on, let me go and get one of the dangerous things right now. Take, for instance, when vapes started appearing, and people were doing their own hacks and putting 18650 cells in their pockets as spare batteries in amongst all the loose change. And then, of course, they ended things getting shorted out, things getting overloaded. They ended up, the 18650s blew up and it was caught on CCTV, and it was like, all vapes are blowing up and setting fires to people. A massive increase in house fires caused by vapes. What about the hoverboards? Of course, they did burst into flames, but not a huge number. But the media is like, they're all bursting into flames. It's what they say. Someone's obviously had an air fryer go on fire, and then the media has probably said they're all going on fire and burning people's houses down. That's what they do. That's what the media does. This one is a strange Japanese vape. I think it's Japanese. The Happy Little Fox, aka Benji, my little tree still works. It doesn't get used that often, but it also has the old gallium arsenide and gallium phosphide LEDs, probably. Can anyone recommend an easy-to-use CAD program to create simple project boxes? I've tried to show my brother Fusion 360 in FreeCAD, but he finds it too hard. John Payton. You can download scripts that are already made that you just change the variables and it does them. It makes custom cases. The media is literally fearmongers, nothing more. Reps, diorams. They have to sell the paper, and the only way to sell it is to do clickbait all the time. Cures for cancer, cures for this, cures for that, cures for Alzheimer's, everything blowing up, big storm coming, everybody's dying, new plague, all the wee babies dying. That's what the media does. License Drive, Russell Howard's video today talks about the whole bullshit the media constantly put out and nails it. Ah. Maybe batteries could do with a far retardant gelatin holder be. If they could do that, they would. But at the moment, everything seems to be jamming as much capacity in. They can use Life PO4 cells, which don't have a flammable electrolyte, which means that they still overheat when they puff up a bit, but they don't burst into flames. Lithium cells have to be treated with respect because they are ultimately energy modules capable of putting tons of energy out. Something wrong with Wrangler Star. I'm not aware of that, Mackin. Don't know. Bacon gives you cancer. Also, bacon cures cancer. Indeed, Pamit. I was thinking that yesterday. I was cooking some food. How everything has to be labelled as potentially being dangerous. All food is deadly. Oh, tell you which. Let's have some deadly food. Let's see what Ralph did give me a Kinder calendar. Is today the 3rd? I think today's the 3rd. Is it going to be some miserable tiny little pokey chocolate egg thing? Yes, it's like every day is an anticlimax. I want a Kinder egg every day. Bacon kills pigs. You are correct. What can kill you? It can. I agree, but I hope he's not sick. I don't know, Mackin. What's being posted on the channel? The temptation is just to cut straight to the chase and open one of the big windows and see what's behind it because, well, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be at Ralph's on the 24th. DGS, thank you. Been vaping 8 years using 18650, zero problems. Indeed. My only problem with vaping at the moment is, in fact, they're putting far too much flavouring chemical in them, and that actually has me worried because I think that's the only unknown variable in them. Thank you, Mr. Schwaggins. Have you seen the reverse rust-unrust plate battery? Not sure. Don't know about that. Bacon is a health food. Do you know what they sell locally? They sell bacon ribs, which are basically, it's cured bacon, but it's like a rack of ribs. Very, very salty, but very nice. Something has just dropped out. It's the badge, because I just knocked it off. That means the magnet is, yes, there's the magnet. Just got my new electric menorah. Zane the Magic Puffer Dragon. Ah! Does it have individual switches for each channel or is it remote control? It is bacon, it's vegan, right, Peter Stevens, because it just basically converts plants and other stuff into meat. I'm going to open the Christmas Eve window here and see if we're getting a Kinder Egg. We are getting a Kinder Egg. That saves Ralph sneaking across and opening it and taking it. He did that before. Got me a advent calendar and then came over and ate most of the chocolate out and closed all the windows again. CNG YouTube, that was a mighty nice woofle. You are so far back. You're literally 15 minutes back. Hope you catch up soon. Thank you, the Behringer Sniper. Thanks for everything, Clive. Much appreciated. You're welcome. What do you think I'm going to get in here? Is it going to be a good time? Hold on. I'll eat it in a controlled manner. It doesn't involve lots of bits of chocolate crumbs going into the beard. Bacon ice cream. GCL, I think that exists. The heck is this? It's a hippo. I think it's a hippo. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not a hippo. Not sure I'd be trying to actually build this right now. No, I may need to read the instructions for that. I haven't a clue what this is. I think it might be a big robot. A transformer. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I shall look at it later. And we're lagging a minute or Clive's clock is off. It's possibly clock is off a little bit. Kinder Capsules, they would make a good cat toy. The clock may be off a little bit because the app is, well, something I've not checked it out too deeply, but it's broken. If you use it to set the time, it overcompensates by 1 hour. If it's showing that on your phone that it's 2100 hours, it comes up 2000 hours in the clock for some reason. Bugs. Claude Fish is in the pub celebrating my pal's 40th. Ah, have a good time at the pub. The chipmunk is, the egg is full of CR232s. What the heck is this? It is a big monkey. It didn't look like a big monkey. What the fuck is that? That's just weird. And it's supposed to be picking up. Yeah, this is just not logical, but that's okay. It's strange. Right, okay, tell you what, let's not try and build this now. It's clearly going to require a bit of attention. I'm not even sure what these things are. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's strange. Clock might be. Keep in mind there is a slight lag. Let me tell you what the lag is at the moment. By pausing, skipping to the point it's live. And then going 1. Oh, Jesus Christ. 1 second. That's good. Paul T, I have a dilemma. My power banks are best stored at 50% charge. Do I have to buy twice as many now? Theoretically, it's just to extend the life of the power bank, but in reality, what's the use of a power bank with only half a charge in it? I'd keep it chopped up to a wee bit higher. No, this has got me annoyed now. I really need to work out how this is supposed to gather. Oh, it shows a rubber band. Where's the rubber band? Oh, there's the rubber band. What's that about? 1. Take the rubber band off. 2. What? Lift the thing's arm. All right, lift the thing's arms up into the air, I think. Attach a green. Oh, right. What? Attach foliage. Yeah, this is just going to end up eating time, right? Tell you what, let's not do this. It's something that needs pondered over. It's one of the stranger toys I've come across in a while. Thank you, Chris Kerr. Much appreciated. To lose a vital part, indeed. It's got little rubber bands and everything with it. I'm not even sure what it's supposed to be. Some of the Kinder toys are very, very strange indeed. I've just run out of coffee. I'm going to go and get beard. My cardin update now will only charge to 98%, John Payton, which is sensible enough. It does protect the battery life. I am not Kinder certified. Do you remember it used to be quite complex toys that went together like Airfix toys, but then a kid choked in one, so now it's not, it's supplied as simpler toys or just fixed models. That's taken a lot from it, but some of them stuff is just weird. First one I ever got, I can remember it was a wee spaceship with a clear window. I remember sitting in my van. I just got back from a job in Paisley, in Glasgowish area. Sitting in the van, ate the egg, took the toy out, and was really surprised at how complex it was and how good it looked. Indeed, the fireplace isn't to do with chapel chicks. The sign below is. I keep my beer at 60 to 80% to prevent swelling, Bella Lugrisi says. Lead acid and nickel metal hydride, they do like being topped up to 100. It does nickel metal hydride, it doesn't like being over trickle charged at high current. This is the time of year, I'm not sure how solar lights out in the garden are going to be. The lithium cells do not like being charged below about, well, anywhere near 0 degrees Celsius. And the reason for that is the intercalation of the lithium ions as they move from one side to the other through the membrane. Instead of merging into the electro material, they just sit on the surface. I wonder if it's because the material, the molecular activity slows down to the point it doesn't go in, and it needs that molecular movement of the material. Or maybe it shrinks down to the point, literally, that it's harder for the electrons, the ions, to go in. But they build up on the surface, and that causes damage. Also, it can result in the build-up of irregular spikes on it. It can make a rough surface. I do like RS. The prices are okay if you're an industrial person who needs stuff. I used to buy them from Rapid all the time, but I used to buy New Rock Boy. Rapid was my main supplier, with RS supplying all the mission critical components like transformers and big huge thyristors and diodes, and certain connectors. But these days I'll quite often use CPC mainly because Rapid introduced quite a significant charge for shipping to Isle of Man. I don't know if they still do that or not. It tends to be a bit random. Did I miss a super chat from Squeak? Is that the... Oh, hold on. I shall scroll. Chris Grr. Scrolling. There it is. Thank you, Squeak. I've been vaping for a long time and I've built my own calls and tanks of stuff. Not dead now, just had a hand-to-mouth thing build the Kinder. Oh no, pressure. RS catalogues used to be great things to flick through. It used to be quite thick, and then it turned into thicker and thicker until it ended up being shipped in a box of catalogues. It's where you go. If you've got a factory, if you don't want downtime, you go to RS Components, and they will either have the component for you right there and then, or they'll have it for you tomorrow. That's RS. That's why you pay a bit more. It's the Rolls-Royce electrical company. And the quality of the stuff, they do test it. They batch test it. If you have a problem with it, they'll go to their lab and they'll analyze what happened, and if necessarily, if they find that there is an issue with it, they'll return the whole batch to the supplier. They don't stand for any shit at all. RS are very good. There's no need to give super chats to be seen. Arthur sees super chat, he will see it. Hold on, where's Arthur? Arthur. Super chat's strictly optional. It's not I don't just read out super chats. It's I promise. Not seeing Arthur. He's hiding. Nope, don't see that. Not to worry. The Maplin catalogue's conquered on, yes, I think I've still got some Maplin catalogues somewhere, but not the earliest ones, which would have been the best one. I'm sure RS adds a zero's price in the login. Lawson Jones, the price of components from RS is quite high. You're paying for the service as well. A long time since I've seen a Radio Shack or RS, or not RS, Tandy. Just the having local electronic shops just doesn't happen these days, does it? It's not viable. eBay is your local electronic shop. Do you still do the tattoo? Yes, JR. But I am freelance, so I never know if I'm going to have it the next year. But I just did the tattoo. I didn't put any video up because although I recorded lots and lots of little snippets of video while we were putting the show in, although they were released on Patreon, I meant to do a compilation, but some of them contain music in the background, and that messes things up. It means that some random music rights organization can just claim all the monetization on your video for themselves, for your work. So that doesn't happen. No music. Yes, they would, Greenom. Tandy were quite expensive, but they were local and available. So was Maplin in a way, but that's fine. Always buy multiples from RS, works out cheaper. Indeed, Keith Watkins, although sometimes you look at it and say, but I only want one. But I think their approach is, buy some spares, keep them in stock. That's just the way they work, it's fine. Does the Island Man have a McMaster's cart? No, the Island Man is very little. We're lucky to have a screw fix and a B&Q. Jonathan Hughes says, I do like Chinese components because they're so out of spec. They work well for random timing of lighting. Yes. Is it past watershed time? Not really sure. Always buy 5, says Squeak. Indeed. Sometimes you don't have any choice. Then again, when you are a factory maintenance operative, you don't give a shit how many you have to buy. You'll just buy them. It's not you as paying. Do you have a tool station? We don't, Callum Rowley. We have just have a screw fix. That's the oddity, just a screw fix here. But we can order stuff online from Tool Station. Maplin was good, Waldrock, but they did. They had no choice but to go a bit commercial. Is it Jaeger time? To all the electronic supply companies and all the shit they've been put through by incompetent governments and officious European bureaucrats, to the electronic supply companies for being there for us. They are crucial to progress. Unlike ring-piece governments, that was a political statement. I'm going to have another go at the Kinder Toy again. And I'm going to grab a can of Polish beer. Well, lager. Grone Zdary Wiki Warzenian Taishach. Or something. Oh no, I'm reading the nutritional information. Per 100 milliliters, 49 calories. Oh, that's 250 calories per can. Oh, that's not going to do it much good. Lager. Taishach is pretty good in my opinion, says Vera de Wolf. That's good to know. Naomi doing the lager bit. Indeed. The wankers need to increase supplies of Raspberry Pis, John McFern. That's because the people have probably been hoarding them. Turns out Raspberry Pis are just suddenly ended up in everything, including factory equipment. You can get an industrial case for Raspberry Pis or Arduinos. They're in factory machines, largely because the younger generation who grew up playing with them as electronic Lego are now working as maintenance operatives in factories and saying, "Oh, well, that whole big, huge, expensive, unreplaceable thing's blowing up, but I can build a new one with an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi," and they do. And it works better because they're there and they can fine tune the software to suit the working environment. This is good. Not good when they leave the company. And don't leave any information. Everybody's saying, "What's an Arduino?" Mind you, it won't be Arduinos now. Well, it could be Arduino platform. It would be ESP32s asunder. I saw a Raspberry Pi on sale recently at £250. Really? That seems quite expensive, 45 RPM. Leather and electronics. What, Mark and Gooley? What? I do know someone who likes dressing in leather and is quite avidly into electronics. Does that count? Suppose it must be some dielectric insulation with that. Craig Matthews, PLCs have been replaced in many applications with one of those. Well, one thing that they don't have is the PLCs are really quite heavily designed to detect a crash or an anomaly and cut off if there's so the machine doesn't go out of control. You have to allow for that. Do people still use Arduino? I think leather is a partial insulator, but no, I wouldn't trust it for thousands of volts. I think these days, am I going to find this? Am I going to find it? Arduino. Yeah. I think the new Arduino is the ESP modules. Especially the ESP32, which is just ridiculous. It's specification, and it's just basically just stuffed into everything willy-nilly. You want to flash an LED? Use an ESP32 so you can log into it on your phone, write an app so you can control the speed at which it flashes. Very handy. Tom Houston, $10 for hitting the machine, 9,990 for knowing where to hit the machine. Well, the answer there is just hit it everywhere. Just keep smashing bits of the machine until something starts. That does work well because of maintenance. Right, I'm taking a look at this thing. I'm not even sure what this is. I really don't know what this thing is. Oh, I get it. That's why it wasn't clipping together. It wasn't clipping together because the rubber band... Oh, that's complex. Oh, that's going to be... The rubber band is about to go into orbit because it turns out that this thing is supposed to be a big monkey and it's going to throw something, but the rubber band hooks over it, but it also hooks over that, and that's its hinge. That is not going to go well. No, that's not going to go well at all. That is not going to work. Not with my big hands. So... there's a rubber band there. And then I have to kind of go like that. Which way does this face? It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it on anyway. This is not going to work. This is about to ping. Yes, it's going to ping. Bear with me 1 moment. Right, that's going there. Oh, and ping. Yeah. You get one rubber band, and for most kids, that's just going to go into orbit straight away like a Jesus clip. Right, it's done. There we go. Righty-ho. And how would you put this in? Like that. No. Right. Give me 1 moment. I'd go for some cherry pie. Cherry pie sounds quite nice. In this area, cherry pie would be basically cherry flavoured sugar syrup with a small piece of cherry in it. So this is supposed to go up like that. Oh, I get it. And then you hold it like that. Right, that's an end stop. That's an end stop. Right, I gotcha. And it's Big Monkey, who throws a thing. Right. If I'm so far behind, how did you see and read it, CNK YouTube? It's because your comments appear in the moment. It throws bananas and turds. Pamit says, not going to work with my big hands. I bet you see that a lot. That could have odd connections. Do you keep old circuit boards and device user components and other things? I do, Lee T. Even if something's not worth keeping, I'll generally keep the circuit board and put it in a big tub of circuit boards just in case it comes in useful. But there's a good chance it's never going to come in useful. It might be useful for the components, but then again, it will be a random circuit board with random quality components on it that may be crap. Spank the monkey, says Bob S. Oh, yes. Shogun, steak and ale is pie is king of pies. I'm from Wigan, so the topic is settled. What about steak and ale flavoured gravy is more like it? This is just stuck onto the little paper mat I've got here. Why is it stuck onto it? It's got some sort of glue in the bottom of the can, probably from the packaging. What's your thoughts on tungstrum going bust and the death knell to Parm can lamp and GKV lamp? Theatres, a lot of tungsten lanterns are going to be in trouble. I wasn't aware that they've gone bust, Stinky Mo. It may have been a strategic thing. Given how the way companies like this, I thought most of the tungsten companies were owned by basically just big corporates now, like Philips. But this year on the tattoo, we had about 4 tungsten lamps. Everything else was LED and discharge, but mostly LED with lasers. We didn't have the power cans this year for the first time in me working with the tattoo. It's gone along. Some of those power cans are very old. We could sell them to Americans as a gift from the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo, but the shipping would be absolutely ludicrous. For the TP4056 module, I think I need a 400 milliamp charge current, so 3K RProg. Do you think a 3.3K? Yeah, that's fine. Experiment, it'll be fine. It's not going to be that critical. Talking of which, some of the disposables that I took apart recently, in particular one, the lithium cells didn't seem to take much of a charge. It turns out their impedance is so high when they're charging, which is odd for a device that is supposed to discharge at quite high current, that they only take a proper charge if you charge them at half C, effectively. So 250 milliamps. I shall experiment with that. Par 36 were originally tractor headlights. Were they really, Steve Perry? The Par 36 parabolic aluminumized reflector, 36/8 of an inch. That's how it works. No Parcan popcorn, indeed. We only did Parcan popcorn once. I also did a stir fry on a Parcan. I had 2 tungsten bulbs explode me in the 80s. Robert Wimpery, had they been installed by someone who handled them, or had they been put into something with a damaged lamp contact, since that can cause instability of lamps? Sometimes they do blow up. It is Ravenlonia, it is a tractor beam. Green, maybe the batteries were found in the side of a road for a reason. Maybe they're buggered. I haven't seen one here in a long time. That one was bought. Some of them are very, very interesting. This one that I looked at earlier there, this contains a very, very different atomizer to normal. It's almost like sinter glass block with a heat element built onto it. It's very odd. And the contact is made by 2 metal pins that touch the ceramic block. It's interestingly engineered. Jerry BVR Perkin, stir fry, did you use Frylight? I could have used Frylight. It's 1 kilowatt light, so it doesn't make too difficult a job of heating a wok. CameraTim.com, TV redhead lamps were very self-destructive. I think they didn't have enough airflow and overheat. And the blondes. Redheads and blondes by Ari? Was it Ari who made those? We had some in our stock, Northern Light in Glasgow. But they don't last a long time. The lamps burn a short and glorious life for maximum output from a tungsten lamp and also to get the white light. Japanese vape pens are very over-engineered, says Mr. Schwaggins. They are. I'm pretty sure this is Japanese. It was quite expensive and designer. It's got things like this. When you pull it out, when you put it in, it goes... Do you hear the wee buzz? And also, if you puff on it too many times in a row, it gives you a warning. I thought, is that a low battery or something? It said, I read the instructions, said, no, it warns you that you're overusing it. That's why it does it. Just paint some bulbs and call it a day, Vera de Wolf. What? Don't use sprays in your air fryer. I don't. I just use pre-frozen stuff in the air fryer. Would you recommend your Dangleberry lights project for beginner electronic hobbyists? I've started out, but like the look of them and worried I'll totally mess it up. Pugster Josh. The Dangleberry, it depends which one, because there's the low voltage one. Let me go and grab some Dangleberries. If you're new to electronics, this one would be the preferred choice. It's the one with little sockets for all the lamps, the LEDs, and it takes the USB connector. But for the hanging Dangleberry lights like this, which plugs into a Edison screw or bayonet cap holder, this one operates at mains voltage, and all the LEDs have to be in the correct polarity. And plugging them while the power's on does pose a slight shock risk because these are all live at mains voltage, so it's maybe not recommended for that. It's wearable. I'm looking at the cobwebs on it though. I'm not sure I really want to wear it with cobwebs on it, but it is completely wearable. Does operate at mains voltage. Bungie Skunk, I've seen other posts of AV techs causing some inconsonant bulbs to fail from shaking the light bulbs from the sound system. Vibration is not great. Scrolling. Oh, excuse me. Quasar Electronics. Are Quasar still about? Bull Electrical are still about under Bully Beef. God bless whoever invented the air fryer. Well, that was discussed. I think a toast was consumed to that very person, James Randolph, because he passed away recently. It was someone in the Netherlands who invented it. And sold the rights to Philips, apparently. Made some money out of it. Who made the reader board? Oh, Mystery Technology. This is using a standard generic Chinese module to run two standard Hub 75 modules running off a USB power supply at the moment. They're standard modules, but you need to set the little receiver, which is Wi-Fi, for the number of scan lines. These ones are blocks of 1 and 8, 4 of them to create the full height of the panel. Takes a bit of playing about. It's really sad it's the end of the Power 60 where we have over 180 power cans, Stinky Mole. It is a bit of a shame. We were kind of worried about that this year because It was the first time the Tattoo we've not had the power cans as a backup, but I'm not sad at all to be rid of the dimmers, which, because the number, we had 100 power cans each side, going through a single dimmer rack. And if you think of it, that's 4 amps per power can. So basically 400 amps of dimming. They got very, very hot, those racks, worryingly hot. Ah, man, the shite Bull and Greenwald indeed used to sell in EPE magazine, especially Bull. A lot of it was salvage shite, but it was fine, bags of components, and you didn't really think about it. You bought your bag components, and yay, it was bag of components. But you look at them now and go, well, that's going to get recycled. It was just old, obsolete components in a bag. But not to worry. I got lots of stuff from Bulls. They were good, fine. And Greenwald. Is that the old rheostat dimmers or proper triac ones, Greenom? Old triac or inverse parallel thyristor? Definitely not rheostat dimmers. They'd have been a nightmare. They'd have been worse. Pete Webb says the lighting looked ace at Edinburgh. It was very different this year. Very bit full on X Factor, but it was fine. My job is to install the lighting and maintain the lighting. It is not to speculate on its artistic use. That's a completely different department who do what they do. And it was a completely different department this year. And they did an interesting job. Very showy. It got lots of complaints from people who, well, they've complained, well, all the time. Every year we get complaints about the Tattoo, how I didn't come here to have fun. I came here to see military men marching up and down with their kilts, thrashing on their thighs. Just then you say, well, it's aimed at families now. It's not just aimed at you. It's fun. It's family fun. Up tempo. And we get complaints about the fact that one of the acts was really thumping dance music, basically, but done with bagpipes and other instruments. I thought it was great. The old people didn't like it. That's fine. They will soon be dead. Not really. Chekhov says power cans were invented by a little old lady from Leningrad. Really, Steve Perry. The power can itself was originally built by a company called Thomas in the UK, the Thomas power can. I think a lot of those ones we have in the Tattoo in the stores are Thomas power cans. Oh, Multicoder, congratulations being a Google certified IT support technician. I'm just going to put my dangleberries out the way. Chipmunk says Greenwald site is still there, but it seems to be part broken. Was last updated in 2019. I wonder if that's mainly a shop they operate. I wouldn't expect to be very profitable these days. I suppose an air fryer might heat up my kitchen in summer less than using the full size. It does for a bear. It's much better for that. It puts out a jet of hot air at the back because it has to cool the outer shell of the plastic case. But other than that, it's pretty good. It's very efficient. Douglas Gander, legend has it were built by Altman for a Rolling Stone show because they were burning through gels on Cindy Queen made by Colortran. Ah. Dunno. Ever hear an electric bagpipe? Yes. Some of the performers, the street performers, use them. So YouTube uses real electromagnetic pickup to pick up the reed. I don't know about that, Greenon. There were other ones that used knee and relaxation oscillators. Am I thinking the squeeze boxes, the accordions that may have done that? I think it might be the accordion used generated a triangular waveform using the knee and relaxation oscillators. There's at least one supplier in Alibaba with Power 64 lamps made in China, John McFerrin, but what's the comeback going to be on those if they start failing left, right, and centre? Do you have an AGA in your kitchen? No, I don't. Aqua 747 Light. There is an unused gas cooker, there is a microwave, and there's the air fryer. And that's the main cooking implements here. Cooking devices. Raven, how does that work? Electrically pump air, is it a synth? Not sure which one that's relating to. How does your garden grow? It overgrows, Paul T. Ever made anything Nixie tubes? I have made lots of things with neon lamps, Lee T. And I've got some interesting, weird neon bar graph tubes. Should have brought them across. But nothing particularly Nixie. It's a bit saturated. Everybody's doing Nixie tubes these days. I did like the look of Nixie tubes. Stigamo says, I heard they are shocking and fail very quickly. I certainly wouldn't trust them in a professional venue. Yeah, you wouldn't want that. Particularly if they fail to bang and blow glass out, which they sometimes do. I do also have a kettle, but it's the hot cup, Craig Matthews. It just boils 1 cup of water at a time and then blows out a spout into your cup using steam. When's the last time you used a 555, the happy little fox, aka Benji? It's a long time since I've used one, but they do pop up from time to time in products. What is Nixie? Monkey Man here. A Nixie tube is a digital display tube. It looks like a valve or a glass tube out of a radio, but it has a common electrode and then 10 or more other electrodes with shaped like numbers, and it's got neon inside, so it can actually display a neon number. But it's not like 7-segment. You do get 7-segment neon displays. Got some right here next to me in the pinball machines. But these ones, the 8 is actually a curved 8. Oh, it's a traditional bagpipe, Greenom says, but just with the magnetic pickup. When's the last time you defiled yourself? I would have to work that up and see what defiled is. Does that mean getting your kit off? BR6060, I'm not sure. My hot cup has green inside, so it's only a hot water bottle from now on. You can kind of take it apart and wash it, but that doesn't sound nice. Is it okay to have a smart meter fitted nowadays? The last post. To be honest, they are using them to control people's consumption and give them specific tariffs, and everything that I predicted is more or less coming true. The one I didn't expect was rolling power outages where they can turn people's power off at certain times. I think he means wanking, Clive. Greenom, well, that happens regularly. What beer am I drinking tonight, New Rock Boy? It is Tajski Polish beer. Tajski. Andrew Ballard says, I would avoid getting a smart meter fitted. Right at the moment, yes. Tariffs where they charge you an awful lot more money at peak cooking times because they know you'll, and they say, oh, but that's really cheap electricity at other times. The main loads are heating loads. So when you go in to cook your tea and put the oven on the kitchen, yes, your your electricity bill is going to be through the roof because you're being penalised for cooking your meal. Well, that's what you get for having a hot meal, I guess. My mate's a fan of Tajski, got a liver as tiny and wrinkled as a raisin, Greenom says. Ah. Bonsoir, nuts and proud. Jazo Sayers, isn't the whole rolling blackout thing entire areas? Well, they can strategically phase it off by switching off individual homes. "45 RPM, I'm drinking Thatcher's Gold Cider." That sounds like a Margaret Thatcher giving us a golden shower of fraud. Yes. Political statement. Finally fixed my Agilent MSO, says Electron Box. scored for 100. Shorted tantalum cap in the main rail. Dry joint and channel 2 input, and an oxidized switch enabled calibration mode. Not a fun repair, to be honest. So many things wrong. Mark and Gully, power company here is offering discounts the right to turn off water heater or air conditioner when there are power shortages. Yes, this is happening. 7 to 7 is premium rate time here. That's quite wide. Do you watch FranLab videos? Yes, New Rock Boy. Particularly when she's making provocative statements about ozone generators. That is not an ionizer. That is an ozone generator she had. And the yellow wire wrapped around the tube was not an ionization wire. It was just the strike wire for the tube to make sure it starts reliably, because it's not in the vicinity of a grounded surface. Thatcher called me a prescient witch, EKA. Good. You upset her. Can we get a house tour? No. Soviet Ventures. It's bad enough that, well, setting up the Pixel phone today, it showed me a picture of what my house looks like through the phone. It was like, oh, that's a lot of clutter. How do you prevent catalytic converter theft? You shoot the thieves, Paul T. Do you know what happened here in Isle of Man? A company came across and advertised in Isle of Man, hey, we buy scrap catalytic converters. And then all the theft started because they were basically providing a place to take your stolen catalytic converters to. Wankers. We love clutter and good, Soviet Ventures. That's every house should be cluttered. It should be as full as you can get, so full that when you get a piece of new technical junk, there's literally nowhere to put it. That's how full it should be. Gilbert T. Codwacker, Clive, as you're a genius, I'm not sure to agree with that. Is there a way to make a power bank for electric cars? Only if you're travelling small distances. The closest you'll get to that, and they did offer me one, is a switch bike thing. They approached me recently, where you snap the little power pack on the front, but it's only designed for boosting your pedal. It's not designed to convert it completely into an electric bike. Justy, there's an electronic device you can attach to your catalytic converter. That's just a load of extra hassle. One that zaps them would be good. Atkilar is a prime example of cluttered workshop owner. Good. More cluttered the better. That's me just justifying my clutter. Use a decoy exhaust to conceal the real one, Ravenlane indeed. One that blows up later on when someone steals it. Echo 747 Light, electric cars are wank. Electric cars preceded gasoline cars, and I'm pretty sure that when they came out, people all said gasoline cars are dangerous, they'll explode, and they're wank. Might not have used the word wank back then. But once electric cars have been around for ages, if someone ever suggested, let's put a petrol engine in one that has little explosions and cylinders that go bang, and then they go back like that, and then the freewheel back, and then it goes bang, and it explodes again, pushes the cylinder out, and that makes your car move, and it'd be like, fuck off. No. It's not an efficient way to convert power, is it? Decat your vehicle. That'll be tempting to many people because, to be honest, they're more trouble than they're worth anyway. That's making me think of the Diesel Brothers and how they made vehicles that belched smoke and just missed all these eco features out, and then California sued them or something like that for making the air dirty. Oh no! That's going to upset the eco warriors. Is it woofle time? It is woofle time. Good Lord, time is flying. They scare the horses, they do. And what was it they also said? The electric trams would result in major deaths because all the horses would be dying and people would be, and it shows like the flat earther conspiracy 5G people at that time. It shows pictures of the horses lying dead in the street and people dangling from the overhead lines with smoke coming off their bodies. That's what'll happen. Oh, Jesus. They're not complaining now, though. Now their iPhones all have 5G in them, they've shut up. The answer, if MD says that 5G is dangerous, is to say, well, turn your phone off then. That's the strongest exposure you're going to get. Someone was not pleased at my answer. Wiffle. When they announced why do the phones have a sticker on them that says don't hold them next to your head, and I said for the same reason they have a sticker that says don't eat the battery. Wiffle. To tick boxes. Yeah. Let me know if this goes in a terrible direction. Do I have any gadgets? Reclaim platinum, indeed. I think hybrids are actually the way to go. That's what I'd consider. I wouldn't want to rely entirely on electric. Pizza time. Pizza time sounds good. California has small control rules for lawnmower and chainsaws. Rifleman, that's useful. John Possum, glad you managed to clean all the crustiness off your counter that was growing under your cutting board. I don't use a cutting board. There's no excuse for dirty emissions anymore. There aren't really, Furbear. Particularly when you get a power station with electrostatic precipitators to take all the dirt out. What happens to the dirt? Do they reuse it? What, don't you breathe air then? I do, Green Omelette. Lovely fresh air here, though, except when I use the woofle. Norm Swan, if the EV range gets up to 500 miles, I'll get one. Well, if you buy the battery off eBay, I'm sure it probably will. I reuse lint from my drowned plant's roots outside, John Post. Does that work? Did cable wrap used to be made of asbestos? I've never heard of cable wrap being used as... if you mean the string that was used, I don't think that was asbestos. You can't easily get talcum powder anymore due to asbestos concerns. Monkey Man here, I'm pretty sure you can locally. I'm not really sure. I've not looked. Baby powder, don't know what's in it. If they've gone to corn flour, if it's all still talcum. Asbestos finds its way into most natural mineral type things because it is a naturally occurring mineral. A good example of that would be not zeolite. What is that? What's that stuff? That fluffed up stuff they use as thermal insulation, but it's also fireproof. Can never remember. Someone will come up with the word now, and then it'll go, oh yeah, that stuff, yes. Perlite. I don't think it's perlite. No, definitely not asbestos. Not rock wool either. Maybe it's a local regional name. Theatre snow. Rock wool, not rock wool. Vermiculite. Dave North got it. Vermiculite. That's contaminated in many instances with trace levels of asbestos because it was a lot of stuff was mined in America from one particular mine that had asbestos in it as well, as just part of the ground structure. Dude, actually, I thought talc is aluminium oxide. Not sure. I don't know what's in talc. Hold on, I use talc for things to prevent friction in certain things, not clothing or body bits. This says, this is foot powder and it says talc, salicylic acid and methyl salicylate. Is it going to smell like it then? It does smell. It's just gone up my nose. Yes. Hold on. Another one, because I thought I didn't have any over here. Cusson's baby talcum powder. Ingredients, talc and parfum. So talcum powder, I'm not sure how old this is though. I don't really use an awful lot. Dries and softens even the most delicate skin. Oh, not that I need that. I'm not delicate. But also keep in mind that asbestos, you get multiple different types. The blue asbestos is the one that worries me the most because it's the one that's commonly found as blue fluff inside building walls, particularly old cinemas. But the greetings 24/7 Hingy. The white asbestos, the chrysotile, while not being ideal, poses less of a risk. It's more likely if you've been exposed to asbestos in the past, it will have been that type. But your lungs can't generally expel it because it is a curly fibre. It's not like the straight fibres of the blue or brown asbestos, which are the dodgy ones. A lot of scaremongering around asbestos because it's profitable to scaremonger. Salicylic acid equal aspirin. The hat could be made of blue asbestos. I'm not going to set fire to it, redhead forest. It will burst into flames. Talking of redhead forester, a guy at the gym, it turns out he is an arborist. The one who has the four-wheel drive Land Rover and the matching beard. He's gone for the lumberjack type thing. He's living the dream. So much disinformation, the chipmunk. What? Which bit of disinformation? Just look how much it costs to get it removed, DCL, on any asbestos, because some fat parasite in a business suit is sending labourers out in paper boiler suits. That's right. What type of asbestos is no brake pads, Rob C? Chrysotile, the curly fibre stuff, because the blue asbestos wasn't suitable because the straight strands actually increased brake wear. So the spiral strands were actually a better for that. And it's the less information, less risk. Still don't recommend sniffing asbestos. However, do you go to the gym, Alan M, 3 times a week, but not to build muscle, just to, just basically stay active? Yeah, I know, Redhead Forester. He does the physical labour all day, but then goes to the gym and he really pumps it big time to the point it's like going, oh yeah. It's like, really? Not to worry. Land Rover is a cunt. Right, Mr. Eggcake. They're very small. He means disinfo journey in the world, indeed. A lot of scaremongering. I come across a lot of people who are genuinely scared they're going to get methylisoma because they probably pronounced that wrong. Because they have been exposed. They know they've been exposed. Asbestos used to be found in electrical distribution equipment. You can find it in old Wilex boards. I think it is the white asbestos again, the woven white asbestos. You'll probably get it from China in eBay products because it's still widely used. China uses so much white asbestos they import it from Russia, apparently. I don't breathe through my balls, so my usage of talc is safe. Evolution, indeed. You talc your balls. That's lovely to know. I only go to the gym to look at willies, Brian Cox. Right. It's not that chilly in the bungalow tonight, Minky Mooty. What was I saying? Yes, a lot of people who are scared they're going to get asbestosis because they've been exposed in the past, and I generally go out my way to say to them that if it's most likely, because it means they're going to worry about it less, that generally speaking, the white asbestos, your lungs the spiral fibres are less of a risk for breaking down into smaller ones like the straight fibres of blue asbestos. But also, the moisture in your lungs makes them puff up, and then your lungs can actually expel them naturally. So about a week or two after you've been exposed, most of it, if not all of it, is gone. A bit more worried about the sheer amount of glass fibre that's out in the construction and the grinding and scraping and causing problems with your lungs. I get exposed to much more fiberglass than literally in some instances, in some sites, to the point I'd be coughing up fiberglass loaded phlegm out the lungs. That's not good. People worked with that all the time. You'd see it was interesting because the guys that were putting the fiberglass in, their overalls, they must put them through the wash a lot, but the fiberglass in the wash meant their overalls looked stonewashed with the abrasion of the fiberglass on them. I wonder what those guys are like these days with their lungs. Having hearing ads is even cheaper than using talc. Well, that's nice until you get chag nuts in them. Fluff. Fiberglass is fine, Minky Moo, too, when breathed in huge quantities of airborne dust. Not so sure. Working with black MDF was fun. Black's not. I've never come across black MDF, Verda Wolf. Always wear a mask when in lofts. Yeah, Callum Rowley. Although that's the last place you want to have a mask on because it's usually hot. Loft insulation is usually glass fibre, yes. What size is the fire extinguisher in the background? Finley's Fire Systems and Electrical. This fire extinguisher from CPC. Oh, look, I've got a big dent in it. That's because I dropped it at one point. 400 millilitres. 399 millilitres. I'm going to wash this off the hands now. I'm not really sure what it is. Calcium lactate? It is a wee baby fire extinguisher. It is. It's mainly for drama. Normally, interesting, it literally is an aerosol of, I think it is calcium lactate. Hold on, I'm just going to check that up. Calcium lactate fire extinguisher. Is that what it is? White powder with no odor. No. Calcium lactate. Firefighting media instructions, or is that just what you put it out with? I'm not really sure what it is. Maybe it's not calcium lactate, but it is something along those lines. You missed the streaker. What? What's the most naughty thing you've ever 3D printed, Jason Brooks? You're hoping I'm going to say butt plugs and things like that. I'm not really sure what the naughtiest thing I've done is. This is weird. This is the Japanesey type one, and the flavors are nothing like European flavors. They have things like green tea, and it really tastes like you're smoking green tea. Any plans for Christmas or New Year's Eve stream? Both are on Saturday this year. Is it Christmas and a Saturday if there's a... Did that not happen last year? Did I not do a live stream on Christmas Day last year? Either way, Christmas Eve, Ralphie and me will hopefully be doing a live stream. Maybe Christmas Day as well then, if it's a Saturday. And then what's a parasitic thyristo? What? Parasitic thyristo? That doesn't make sense. Echo 747 Lighthouse, ship's doctor, how I miss the Royal Navy these days. Love the wee Christmas tree supercomputer, Rabby Boy. This is from Mouse. Mouse has introduced some other things apparently, stars and things like that. Kevin Hurst, the MDF dust made me sneeze like crazy. MDF is supposed to be one of the more harmful ones because the resin binder. Sure how... Then again, it doesn't matter what you do. It's like everything causes asbestos. Everything causes asbestos. Everything causes cancer these days. There's a whole industry around that. I wonder what Firestop's designed to do. I wonder, Brian Cox. Commental Gavar, fiberglass composition standard changed somewhere late 90s, so it is now much easier dissolved by the human body. I'm not sure. Is that the binder? Not really sure. We have an idiot at work, does as little as possible all day, then goes to the gym in the evening. Oh, that's me then. No, Steve Perry. Oh, lazy co-workers, very annoying. And they always end up still staying in the company. Redhead Forrester says, I won't be travelling. Where do you normally go for Christmas, Redhead Forrester? Do you normally go and hang out with family? Dilbert says, need to purchase a new soldier yarn and hot air station. Any recommendations, Clive? These days, no, because there's so much choice. I'm not even sure I'd go with the Chinese yarns these days because they've become a bit cliched. But I'm not really sure. There's other options. Have you ever took a LED billboard to bits? No, I've not even made the video about this one, which is LED billboard modules. Christmas is Sunday this year. Okay. So Christmas Eve will be the Saturday. Well, I will be streaming with Ralph on Saturday. At least MDF doesn't give you the crunchy phlegm like fiberglass does. Ain't big, ain't clever. We don't even want to talk about crunchy phlegm. Blah. Abrasive snot. Oh, God, no. Just it gives me the flashback to a job where the labourers were throwing bundles of the fiberglass down. It was actually going boom and blowing clouds of dust out of the bags in a site. And the sunlight was shining through a small gap in the structure. And it was like a bright laser beam. It was like neon sparkling like a glitter lamp. And this health and safety lady came in with her clipboard and everything and all her high vis and the white, shiny white hard hat. She went, oh, oh, oh. She put her hand over her mouth and ran through to the safety of her office so she didn't have to breathe it in, but didn't actually do anything about it. Fucking cow. Welcome to the safety industry. All mouth, no action. I found a picture recently of me standing suitably handsomely clad in my overalls, but in the background was a all-purpose safety sign from a visit from a safety officer who said, well, I'm here for your safety, and it just said, so is there anything that you think, that worries you? And I said, yeah, we're quite worried about the storage of the equipment we're using. It's quite heavy and awkward to lift down. And he just said, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about that. And then he told us that a sign would be delivered, and he just got his usual supplier to supply us a stock sign that had everything on, including excavation works and everything. It was just the D-Master sign that they just ship out to everybody. Useless. Overcharging. That's a rant. Salty licorice doesn't cause cancer. Oh, I'm not sure about that. Because it is licorice. It is... what is it made salty with? Ammonium chloride, is it? So you don't really know, but I'm not sure. It's still popular. There may be cats, Furbear, on the Ralphie stream. Can I send Ralphie whiskey via your address? No, you can't, Nuts and Proud. He just doesn't like stuff like that. Yes, ammonium chloride, Brian Cox, which is also used in... Leclanche cells. This one has a sock because the sock has been put in there. Hold on, I'll get out the sock. It's two socks. Oh, I can't get out. There's the well-corroded electrode. The zinc electrode. It's well corroded, but I'll clean up. There's still a bit of zinc left in that, complete with the... Maybe that is asbestos. Will we light it and see it? No, I can't really light it with the arc lighter, can I? I could try the arc lighter, but I think it'll just be cotton. Oh, it's burning, yeah. Yeah, very combustible. So most likely not asbestos then. That's good. Smells like old lacquer. That probably is carcinogenic. Where the fuck did you get that from? Out of an attic in an old building I was working in. I'm trying to get my thing out of the sock. There's one sock off. I'm getting a pair of socks out of this. This is quite good. Here we go. Here is the internal structure, which is a ceramic pot with pitch around the top. It's slightly cracked down there as well, but it'll be fine. Maybe put some cable ties around it. And then the big carbon electrodes. So this goes in here. This electrode goes down here. It's got a little lip for it. And dangles over the edge, and then it gets filled up with sal ammoniac or ammonium chloride solution as the electrolyte. I shall reconstitute that in a video. We shall re-energize a Leclanche cell. What voltage does a Leclanche cell put out? I don't think it's going to drive an LED directly. I may need a joule thief. It's a wet zinc carbon battery. That's why they call them dry cells, because they're not wet. I don't use blank socks. Maybe I should. It'd be cheaper than condoms. 1.5 volts. Yeah, that sounds about right, Cambridge Mart. Could have done with a couple then. That would have driven an LED. What was it used for? It was used for the maid call systems, doorbells and things like that made the little bells go ding-a-ling-ling-ling with the magnets. What are you going to use the socks for? Wearing. I shall put the socks into the washing machine, actually. I shall do that right now. Not because they need washed because they've been used, but because they've been holding an old battery together. The wet cells are used for bells or telephones. They were. You still find them in attics, but all dry. You find all sorts of stuff. Keep in mind, Britain's quite old. They're not antique socks. They were new socks. They were put on fairly recently, Greenom, for me to actually ship this back. Methinks lithium batteries don't last anywhere near as long as they used to. The biggest problem, Acco Symbor Light, is with modern electronic products going into modes that they just suddenly start, they crash, they glitch, they start drawing a lot more current, they don't go to sleep properly. Kate Incredible, can we do the next toast to the maker and hacker teachers? We could do an intermediate toast to them, because there are 2 Jägerminions left, and the stream does actually end in 20 minutes. This is your 20-minute warning. To the makers and hackers, the teachers that encourage the younger generation to do technical stuff. That's all. That's got to be good. That's YouTube as well, isn't it? At this point, I feel the need to remind you that if you've ever fancied a particular technical job, and you probably do have the skills to do it, especially these days, don't be shy, don't be scared about applying for jobs like that. What's the worst that can happen? They could say no. If you do take it on, don't be daunted. Everything will just fit into place, and you'll probably enjoy it. There's nothing better than doing a technical job where you actually work on something, and then you step back and you look at what you've done, and it feels pretty good, particularly if it's big. What happens after the live cast? You go to a bar. I'd start reverse engineering again. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm trying to reverse engineer at the moment. What a chore it is. That is just so annoying. This is the circuit board out of the dual battery that has got 2 20-volt packs in one battery. So it can be either 20 volt or 40 volt. And the chips are not showing up in a search. It's smothered in little MOSFETs that are possibly switching the batteries for monitoring. It's got 2 fuses, 1 fuse per battery. And it's got a couple of opto-isolators and 2 thermistors. Separate thermistors for each battery section, although they're just both in the same place on the top battery, and therefore the bottom battery isn't getting monitored. Be a lift check, says Norm Swan. Indeed, that's what I've said, that if you want a lot of variety. They're recruiting Acco Symbor Light. Apply to join the Royal Navy. Indeed. Not sure that'd be a good thing at the moment. I get a free scholarship in my midlife to learn how to fix robots, Mr. Schwaggins. I got a complete new training in panel building by Hussman when I just, because it was kind of freelance, I ended up not just out on the tools, actually, like, well, on the tools indoors as well. I wasn't just out doing the installation of the equipment, which was really quite immense. It was like huge stuff, really, really big stuff, really high power. But also in the factory, building the control systems from scratch, like literally drilling all the holes in the back of the panels and putting all the switches and displays in the panels, building the whole panel interior, and then building them onto the racks, and then wiring all the compressors up in the racks. It was the full works. That was like, honestly, it was another apprenticeship. It was very useful. The fairground lighting controllers owe part of their well-built appearance to Hussman. That Pixel 6a does some fancy adaptive charging so it doesn't sit at 100% if you leave it in the charger all night. Says Mar, this phone here, if it's in charge, will not charge up fully until just before it works out when you're going to get up in the morning, and it just charges up just before then, so it doesn't leave it fully charged overnight. Do you like bourbon as much as your brother? I'm not super into whiskey, BR6060. I tend to get cheap whiskey and mix it with cream soda. Graham Shaw, talking of which, just bought an Anker 735 USB power supply which claims to draw no current when there is no load. Bullshit, it will, but it'll be extremely low. That's a bit like the Sharp plasma cluster not creating ozone. Yes, it does, but they just feel that because it's below ambient levels, it can be ignored. Software does give quick gratification, but does it give as much gratification as being physically standing in or on something, or seeing a big, huge steel structure actually doing something? Don't know. Both will be satisfying. I hate doing panel layout. Once that is done, I enjoy the work. Shuffling everything to work out the best, it's almost like designing a circuit board, because you want to keep the wiring as sensible and logical as possible to minimize the amount of cable length and the trunking you need. So this is where, you can design with a bit of knowledge. You just look at things and the pinouts, and you just choose to operate as efficiently as possible. This is a very, very efficiently designed circuit board. And yet, it only took me an evening to put it together. And it was like an evening before traveling. So it was the night before a flight. I just thought, I'll just lay it down as a rough guide. There's one thing I don't like about it, but it's not that bad. The connectors, I put them too close together, so they actually butt too hard against each other. But it doesn't matter, because though it's 8 ways plus 2 positive at either end, it only needs positive at one end. So, or you've got the option of it's glitched. Com positive coming out here. Lots of options. I've left options asunder here. So that doesn't really matter. I can use a 9-pin connection of 1 positive. An old lady I lifted coal for as a boy had a bag of Leclanche cells behind the cellar door for the bell pushes in the rooms. James Speakman. And their maintenance electrician would have come out and just topped them up with water every so often. Cleaned off the electrodes. Minky Mutu, it seems to be a dying skill. We get people claim they can fault find, get them to do an aptitude test, and they don't have a fecking clue. What we have these days is Dunning-Kruger training, where people are told, you can do it, you're fully Part P, etc. Yes. Where'd the battery go, Paul T? The battery is down in a bucket down there. The bucket it came across in for strength and packaging. If I was going to join the Navy, it would have been the Merchant Navy. Don't like the military aspect of things, says the guy who works in the military too. Submariner, not my thing. Not really up there. I'm very big, so being squashed into a small bunk or having an environment you have to duck all the time, no, that's not good. The fuck it bucket, not quite, DC Allen. Is that cell like the Baghdad battery? What was the Baghdad battery? Hold on. Baghdad battery. What is it? It could well be. It looks like it, doesn't it? Tube of copper and a rod of iron. Ceramic pot. It does look like it was a Baghdad type battery. What solder iron do you prefer? The one I use most conveniently is the cheapy Chinese one, but you know what? Other ones are fine. Does it solder? Yes. Then it's a good iron. We'd have to wear a hard hat and a sub all the time, duck and cover. A fluffy floof. The hard hats, if you're tall, are a disaster in sight because you're more likely to, because they get the wee skip out the front, you're more likely to miss seeing a scaffold pull down low. And more than once, I've had my head ricocheted back as I've been walking along because there was a pull at hard hat height. Um, Let me think. I got sent some Dubai lights. Brilliant. Nuts and proud. That's good. Jason Brooks, thanks for keeping us company through the hard times. You're welcome. Where's the beef? Beef. John Possum. Any idea how I could use 24 1,500 milliamp hour lithium cells from vape sticks? A friend collect them for me. Well, that is six. That's, hold on. That's a lot. That's 18 amp hour. That'd make a good, useful power bank. But many other uses for them. And controlling LED lights. Clive's accidents show they do. Missing teeth and everything. It's just like in scars. Oh, well. Pool Paul, Jaeger for my 50th. Yes, Pool Paul. To your 50th birthday. 50's a young age these days. I'm 57. It doesn't feel like I thought being 57 would be. It just feels like normal. The only thing it's wearing out is like joints here and there, like knees and ankles and things like that. That's a bit annoying. And incontinence, no, it's not. What do you do with all the extra screws you take out? What do I do with all the extra screws I take out? Random screws and springs. That's what I do with them because some of them are quite useful to keep. When you're going to restart selling electronic kits for all newbies to electronics, maybe mine aren't the best choice for that, loony one, but I'm not really sure. I try to avoid using the postal service at the moment. It's still very messed up from the whole combined COVID and Brexit thing. It messed it up big time. I've got loads of out-of-date stamps with rogue values because the prices just went through the roof, so it's just become unviable to sell stuff. Unless you're selling so much stuff you get the postal discounts. My 45-year-old Antex 25 wire is still going strong as long as the tips, the bits are lasting well, Jerry BVR. James Randolph, my cousin was drunk walking through a basement. I heard bang, bang, bang. Sometimes it sucks being tall. It does at times. The stream is done in 14 minutes. No, it's not. It's 9 minutes, isn't it? How do you get a postal discount? If you sell enough stuff, if you send out enough packages a day, Paul T, talk to the post office, or better still, go direct to not the local post office, but the Royal Mail or whoever your post mail provider is, and you may find they have a discount structure. They don't advertise it though. At a point that one of my friends who has a ongoing e-commerce business was just basically about to throw in the towel because he was sick of the postage costs, one of the people confided to him and said, go to their website and, send a message to this person. And they did. And it just became fixed price for no matter the size of the package, it was a fixed price for the bulk. And they could just literally put the labels on, put them in a sack and just drop it off or get it collected. But they don't mention it because they don't want to lose the money off all the small items. Ah, very awkward. No forever stamps in the UK. Oh, theoretically, yes, to a degree, the first and the ones that are just marked first and second, but these ones have uh, actual price values printed on them, even though they're printed on demand. Oh, did we get a? It's always right at the end we get the porn bots coming in. Trump did screw the international postage system. He did terrible things, Steve Perry. Targeting China, he ended up targeting every other country at the same time. But because China wasn't paying much anyway, everybody else ended up paying tons. It's ludicrous sending stuff to America now. In the US, we have companies that resell bulk shipping through our post office. I use one called Pirate Ship. James Randolph says, I wonder if the eBay, I noticed a lot of sellers are selling it via the eBay shipping system. I wonder if that's what they do. At the moment, our postal service is going on strike because, well, it's a peak time and will cause the maximum inconvenience. I don't think that's the correct way to do it. Have you got a king in stamps yet? There are the stamps in the Isle of Man don't even have pictures like that on them. It's actually just themed blank barcode labels that they then thermally print onto. I almost bought my diploma in my doctorate from an American supplier for so I could call myself doctor and spread misinformation like all the rest of the flat earthers. And it was the doctorate in metaphysics. It was £20. The cost of shipping the bit of paper to me was £30. It's probably still worth it. It's much cheaper than doing an actual formal course at a university, and has the same legal status apparently. Others may disagree. I was talking this to a friend who is an actual doctor, who has a doctorate in psychology, and he said he knows that those things are valid, but obviously doesn't approve them because he went the hard route. Thank you, Palmet. Thanks for all the chat labs and thoughts and conundrums. Thank you. Love you. The conundrums. Intriguing. You can just make up your own fake doctorate for free. I'd rather have it endorsed by an official organisation, the same one that gave me the title Reverend Clive. Should I give all you guys doctorates? The University of Clive, and you can all go around calling yourself doctor. Would you make how to make a power bank video? To be honest, it's cheaper to buy an empty power bank, nuts and proud, and just fill it with stuff. The university accreditation is what matters. That is the thing. It needs the educational establishment accreditation. Zadster. There are some politics to it. I think that's what the United Life Church, is it? Do have that all set up. They've gone the formal route. They're not official, they're self-appointed. That's how they can sell the doctorates for 20 quid. And there are two you can get, typically. One in divinity, which is religion, which is obviously like, yeah, very vague subject. And metaphysics, which is my choice, which is fake science. I like to consider myself an expert at fake science. FranLab thinks I'm an expert in fake science too. Not to worry. Citibank calls me Emperor, says Norm Swan. I see. But then you saw that thing recently with the Lord and Lady title with the that scam of Scottish land. It's not, because I'd be a lord. Because, well, me and my neighbours in Glasgow all effectively own that area, so we'd all be lords. That's not real. But did you increase the knowledge of fake science to get your degree, Clive? Come on. Oh, I've researched fake science a lot. It's great. Peter James. Oh, talking of which, I was so delighted with my fake ionizer, the dangerous fake ionizer, that the thing to look for in these things is the logo. So it's that little greenhouse with a leaf in it, means basically fake product. Quite interesting case. I like the cases. It's a shame the pin isn't totally compliant, but that's okay, the earth pin. Because it's not the correct size. It doesn't matter that it's not metal. But I think this is the special one. Let me just get the meter here. So can you hear the meter beeping? You may be able to hear that. It's quite quiet. It's got a wee button this side. It doesn't do anything. Let's put it in the live pin and touch it to the carbon fibre emitters. Oh, that one's live at mains voltage. It's directly connected through to the live pin through their fake circuitry. Again. God, how dumb are they? Chinese companies selling lowered titles. Chinese companies selling fake ionizers. And other things. The same case will be used for the rodent repellers and the whole house energy savers and the... Oh, and my watch that... it's a watch that increases the flow of fluids through your lymph glands. Let me go and get this. It's the lymph drainage watch, and it does have a wee thing in the back. Don't know what's in it yet, but I have a sneaky feeling that it may just be a watch. I think it's just a watch that they've just basically... We'll find out when we open it. But it's supposed to put ultrasound into your body and therefore increase the flow of lymph drainage and things like that. Whatever the latest thing is, but before that it was repelling insects and things like that. We'll see. Established Titles, that's the one. Established Titles is a scam company. Lots of them about. Scrolling down, the stream, incidentally, is coming to an end within about 1 minute, I'm afraid. But that's okay, I'll be back again next week. Are the Chinese trolling us, or are they just extremely stupid? Ralphman, it just seems they like making fake products. Don't fick the cat. How does per factor of things change the energy bill? It may in the future, but at the moment it doesn't. But I shall end in a whiffle. Yes, we do need the Orgone energy is very expensive. Some of it's affordable. I like to push the concept of affordable Orgone energy if you want stuff. Not the people charging astronomical sums of money. Orgone energy, it's harvesting the power of the orgasm, apparently. You make a tinfoil box and then you sit in it and wank, apparently, is what Orgone energy is all about. I'm not really sure. It's a controversial subject, but the guy who taught the subject at university was very popular, apparently. Woofle. As it would. Now, your homework is to go home, shut yourself in a cardboard box and masturbate. Okay. Best homework ever. Like you need an excuse. Wiffle. Oh, it's so private in this cardboard box. It feels like a personal experience. But anyway. So, Minky Mootu, have you not done it in a cardboard box? Neither have I. I'd need a very big cardboard box. Maybe that's what cats, maybe that's why I like cardboard box. Green Rule, good night, everyone. My lymph is fully drained and I can now relax. Indeed. I think I've drained everybody's lymph simply by holding this next to the microphone and it's sent all the energy over the internet and drained your glands. That's useful. Now you can make sure that you drink some beer or whatever you've got with alcohol in it just to actually replenish your lymph juices. Okie dokie. Right, well, I shall see you next week. In the meantime, have a good week. And if, as I said there earlier on, if there's a job you fancy and you've never had the courage to apply for it, apply for it. Do it this week and see what happens. What's the worst can happen? I shall catch you next week.